Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. He really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we're in the CEP Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital of the world. And we have a great lineup for you for the show today.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes, we do. We actually have a different doctor this week.
Different doctor.
We do. We have Dr. Marcos Perez, who'll be joining us from Peterson Smith. So Dr. K got a day off, and we're actually going to talk and tour the new CT wing at Peterson Smith, which is extremely impressive. We have Glenn Stewart here with us in the studio live, and he's going to be talking about his new book and more. And then in the second half of the show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, we're going to do a little Pyranha golf tournament and Gala recap from the wonderful event last week. And we also have a tip of the week from Dr. Alberto Rullan from the Equine Performance Innovative Center. And then, of course, we'll do our usual wonderful wrap-up with a tip from Dancing Pete Rhoda from Complementary Horsemanship. Who's that guy?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I sure enjoy his tips, though.
I know, that's so good, aren't they? So do all your people.
I know.
Are you talking about me, Pete, in that one?
Yeah.
We've got some news and events, of course, in and around this area. This week is the Springs Forever Conservation Summit by Horse Farms Forever.
November 14th from 5 to 7 p.m.
And that's at Ocala Breeder Sales on Airport Road. And they actually have a chap from National Geographic that's going to be there. And he's also an alligator wrangler, apparently.
And he's from Ocala, Florida.
Yes, that's right. He's from right around this area. So we'll be hearing a little bit about conservation of our springs here, the 3 first magnitude springs that are in this area, and how important it is to conserve that and keep it safe. So Horse Farms Forever, of course.
And they said we are the largest aqueduct.
Largest magnitude spring.
There you go.
Yes, in the world. That's right.
That's
you
right.
were listening.
I was
and
listening.
paying attention.
Yes,
so that's
ma'am.
November 14th. If you're listening on the radio on Saturday morning, you missed it, but there's always next year. You can get signed up for it. It's only $45 a ticket. You can go online to Horse Farms Forever to get more information. Liberty Clinic is coming right up with Linda Pirelli. She, of course, will be at the Equine Industry Expo for us, also on November 22nd at the Florida Horse Park. Very excited to see her doing a Liberty demo for us on the 22nd. And then she is also teaching and judging the dressage on Saturday at the Stick Horse Games. So we're very excited about that. There are some spots left that you can watch this Liberty Clinic with Linda Pirelli. But it is sold out as far as tickets with a horse, but you can still go and watch it. And you can get more information on that at happyhorsehappylife.com to go and watch. And she's an incredible person working with horses. And that's November 15th to 17th. And that is at High Bricks Farm, right, in Reddick.
Reddick.
Yes, Reddick. Don't forget.
We're getting close.
These. Yes, I know we are getting close, aren't we? November 22nd and 23rd at the Florida Horse Park is the CEP's Equine Initiative Signature Events. And we are trying to involve our community as much as we can in the horse world.
November 22nd, Equine Industry, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have some demos. You'll learn all about the horse industry.
Yeah, we've got a farrier, an equine dentist. We've got several top equestrians doing demonstrations. We have 2 veterinarian clinics represented there that will be doing different demos to learn about the vitals of your horse and lameness exams.
And there'll be vendors and...
Vendors. There's a kids zone with little jumps and horses that you can bounce around on. There are lots and lots of things to do. The vendor village is filling up really, really fast. Food trucks, free admission all day, both days. The 23rd is an all-breed horse parade at 10 a.m. following the national anthem. And then the rest of the day, we will be doing 6 different equestrian sports from the safety of a stick horse.
Oh, boy.
Yes, competing for ribbons and an overall trophy and reserve grand champion at the end of the day. You can borrow one of our stick horses. If you like to bring your own, we have a competition at the end of the day.
And we won't talk about...
And we won't talk about it. For the best possible stick horse, the best company stick horse, and the wonkiest, weirdest, ugliest.
That's the one we're not talking about.
That's the one we're not talking about because Pete didn't win it last year.
That's right.
And he's still hurt.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Anyway, it'll be a great day. It's free admission for all ages. This is part of the Equine Initiative presented by Pyranha and our wonderful presenting sponsors, AgPro and Advanced Talent Solutions, supporting this incredible $4.3 billion industry in Marion County alone.
Wow.
Very exciting stuff. The Horse Capital Parade, I mentioned already, is at 10 a.m. on the 23rd. If you have a horse...
Don't bring him to this.
Don't bring him to this. This is pizza night, November 15th at the Florida Horse Park under the covered arena at 6 p.m. This is 2-leggeds only, and this is if you're interested in participating in the parade. We just have a few things to go through with you, and we're going to feed you while you're there. And you get to network and meet cool people.
There you go.
Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care has a spring undergraduate internship available. There are quite a few spots open, so please reach out to Peterson Smith if you would like to intern there. It certainly is a phenomenal facility to do that.
Especially if you want to become a vet.
That's right. Listen, this is exciting news, horse owners. Larson Hay has in the past had a variety of different charges for different amounts of feed and hay, and it can add up, and we all know that everything is more expensive than it used to be. So they are from now on going to do a flat $40 delivery fee within Marion County. Obviously some exclusions may apply, but for the most part, if you're ordering feed and hay and it's coming to your farm, it's going to be $40. So,
wow.
Yep, get on their schedule. It's booking up pretty quick at that rate, of course, but that's very helpful to people. And it's going to really help with some of the costs. So you can call them for more information at 352-732-4445. And they have 2 locations, one out in the west side of town and then one close to downtown off 16th. And again, that's only $40 flat.
My favorite is off 27.
I know. My favorite's the downtown off 16th.
Right.
There you go.
Leave Viva Las Vegas.
We're going to Vegas. We are. We're going to Vegas December 7th. Is
5 to 9.
5 to 9, yes, at the Mary Sue Rich Community Center. Stirrups and Strides Therapeutic Riding Center presents their annual fundraiser, and it's Vegas theme with casino and dancing and entertainment and
yeah, we have shows.
Dancing Pete Rhoda. It's worth going to see Dancing Pete Rhoda dressed as Elvis.
I didn't say I was going to do Elvis, but you're going to be the MC.
I am going to be the MC. I'm still working on a costume for that because you know I have to have a costume for everything. That's just the way it goes. But listen, for dinner, drinks, a show,
some gambling
silent
fun,
auction, some gambling fun, $100. I mean, it's worth going, and you're supporting a 501c3 that does so much for the community with their therapeutic riding program. So, absolutely worth getting signed up, and you get to see Pete dressed as Elvis.
If I do it.
He will. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to come back with Dr. Marcos Perez from Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, so stay with us. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch. Join us at the Florida Horse Park on Friday, November 22nd at 10 a.m. for the Equine Industry Expo presented by Advanced Staffing for demonstrations by top equine industry professionals, horsemanship demos by top trainers like Linda Perez and Dancing Pete Roder, a breed exhibit, a vendor village, food trucks, a kids zone, and more. Free admission for all, and Marion County Public School absentee credit is available. For the best in equine edutainment, don't miss this event at the Florida Horse Park. That's November 22nd from 10 to 3 p.m. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
Equestrian. It's not just a word, but a title. It comes paired with hard work, discipline, and talent. LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Introducing the Hooflink system, powered by LipChip, where a microchip becomes a secure key to unlock temperature, register for your next event, and keep track of required documents. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. We're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
We've been talking about stick horses on the break, by the way. And Dancing Pete Roder is determined to win the ugliest, wonkiest stick horse on November 23rd. So can somebody please outdo him with an uglier, much uglier stick horse?
Oh, I see how it is.
On a very serious note, I was so impressed to see the CT wing, which is about 6 months, I think now, 5 or 6 months old, at Peterson Smith this past week. Really, really impressive.
What does CT stand for?
If you hadn't asked me that, I'd have been fine. Kylie, help me. She's Googling.
She's Googling.
But the amazing machine that is... Actually, Isaac and I were laughing because it's a Canon. You know, it looks like a huge big lens of a camera, well, you'll see in just a minute. But it actually says Canon at the top. And I said, is that like Canon who makes the cameras? And he said, yes. And I was like, wow, I guess that makes sense, right? Because the technology's there. But really, really impressive.
Computer tomography?
There you go. Computer tomography. How about that? We got
an English accent. It's really hard.
I know, right? But really impressive. And one of the things that really impressed me is the fact that if you have to put a horse down or your horse passes away and you want to know why, they can actually find out a lot of things from this machine without anything invasive.
Wow.
Which is really important to many people. And so really fantastic. But anyway, you'll learn more. Here's Dr. Marcos Perez. Enjoy all this information. It's fantastic. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show, the CEP's Equine Initiative and the Equus Television Network. And I am visiting Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care and we are talking to Dr. Marcos Perez. Dr. Perez, thank you for being with us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about you. I know you're a newer vet here, right? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I arrived here 2 years ago already, and
Has it been that long?
it's been-
Oh my gosh.
And so yeah, I'm originally from Spain. I did my vet school there in Spain, and then I decided that I wanted to specialize in horses in the U.S. because the programs were more established and had longer been around, and more they have better rules set and a better training programs. So I came here. And I did my residency in UC Davis after completing 2 internships, one in Kentucky and one in Canada. And then after being 7 years in UC Davis, after the residency, staying there as a staff vet, a staff surgeon, then I came here to work for Peterson Smith.
Wow, nowhere better than the horse capital of the world, right?
No, yeah, really
And the
nice
finest facility, of
exactly.
course.
And
yeah.
really nice weather and really nice people.
That's right. It's all good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So tell us what your specialty is and what you're most interested in as far as horse care and treatment.
Yeah, I'm mostly interested, and I'm one of the 2 main guys doing the orthopedic part of the surgery. So I do a lot of elective surgeries, especially arthroscopy, minimal invasive things. I do a little bit of laparoscopy too, that is soft tissue, but it's still minimal invasive. And I think my main strong point would be fracture repair. And we've done a couple of things with the CT, using it for fractures and better planning and better assessing what the implants look like. And it's been a great addition to the team.
That's wonderful. And we have so many sport horses in so many different disciplines here that it certainly is a good fit for this area.
Yeah. There are 2 other CTs in the area, but I mean, we've been busy with it. Like, we've been using it quite a bit and learning from it and discovering new things with it.
Let's start right behind us here and talk about this. Share with us kind of what we're looking at here. It's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Canon CT, so it was more or less developed for human medicine, and it's been adapted to the veterinary world. So the biggest addition that it has is that the bore is really big, so we can fit big animals, we can fit big things in that hole. Usually the small CTs are for people, of course, are less expensive and easier to make, and the image quality might be even a little bit better if it's a small bore, but we get really good images with this. And the other thing that it has is that it can be lower all the way to the ground. So if we have a horse anesthetized, we can adjust it up and down and out and in, so we can put the horse in the better position inside the CT, and we can do standing anesthetized. We can do a lot of things with it.
Wow. So tell us, what is the big difference with this particular machine and other procedures you've been able to use for diagnostic imaging in the past?
Yeah, so mainly the CTs that were in the past were all under general anesthesia, and the position of the horse was like really critical for it. General anesthesia, of course, helps that the horse doesn't move or there's no wiggle room or something for the machine to give you some artifact. But this one has been great in that. So the biggest advantage is that you can do any horse standing, any leg up to a little bit up the knee, up the hock, and you don't have to anesthetize them. You don't have to risk. And usually when you have like sport horses and everything, and people are really concerned about anesthesia and then recovering from the anesthesia, especially big horses, Clydesdales, we can just put them there and they just stand there, they just put the leg there and the machine moves around the leg, and it's a really easy and fast procedure to do. So it's very harmless for the horse.
That's wonderful. That's incredible. And then the images are obviously very clear and give you kind of the answers that you need in a simpler process.
Yeah, no, they're really good images where the new technology is coming to make a thing called dual energy. So it's very useful in not only bone things, but also soft tissue, tendon lesions. We can see all the tendon lesions. We do a lot of procedures with contrast that enhances the lesions, and we see them very well, like almost to the level of an MRI, not as much as an MRI for the tendons and stuff, but it's really good diagnostic tool that we can see most of the lesions with it.
So it helps you kind of helps you solve the kind of the puzzle of what's going on in a much simpler way and easier way, and then less stress on the horse as well. And as you mentioned, anesthesia, a lot of people, you don't even want to think about having to do that. And so this, of course, removes that as well. So that's a big part.
Adds and also adds speed. Like the horse comes, does a CT, and leaves like in an hour. So it's
that's
really
amazing. So incredible state-of-the-art facility this is behind us. Anything else that you want to tell us about this setup, this particular equipment?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advantage too that we have here in this room is that it's pretty wide open and pretty good. So in case that we need to do a surgery when we need the CT, we can do the surgery in here, and it's like, as you see, it's pretty clean. It's pretty more or less in a sterile environment. All the doors are closed. It's very well temperature controlled because of the machine too. So it's a great area where you can do actually surgeries with the CT when you need it, and just pass the CT whenever you need it, whenever you're intra-op. So
you have the advantage of having it right here.
Yeah.
So you actually are able to look at what you're working on in this area.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was well designed to have that space to be able to do that, because in some other facilities that they have the same kind of CT that it can be done standing and everything, they don't have enough room, or they don't have enough space to keep everything sterile around the CT.
That's phenomenal.
It's been great. Yeah,
that's a game changer.
Yeah,
you love it,
good.
don't you? I can see the passion for being able to diagnose and treat and have this state of the art, obviously incredible, and Canon no less. That's amazing. Thank you, Dr. Perez. Wonderful information. Dr. Perez here at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. We're learning about this phenomenal CT wing here, and this machine behind us is certainly everything you need to diagnose and find out what's going on with your horse in the most simple and safe environment. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires. I'm Pat with Pat Myers Electric. Equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure that you can achieve your vision for a beautiful, safe, and functional horse facility. From new construction to rewiring and updating, the Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a small farm of our own, we truly understand the unique concerns of the horse owner. Don't take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at seminolefeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, Piranha.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we have a special guest with us live in the studio, Glenn Stewart. And in the next segment, we're going to talk quite a bit about a book that's sitting right here with me. But first of all, for viewers that haven't heard from Glenn before, we want to chat a little bit of background and then a little bit about Glenn himself. So, Glenn, thank you for being with us again.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you back again.
3 years in a row.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
Anybody think we liked you?
Oh.
Glenn, tell us a little bit about your background. You're from Canada. You grew up in Canada.
Yeah, from northern British Columbia, and grew up on a ranch. We had some cattle there. Then I got spending a bunch of time with horses, and what this book is about. Went up to the mountains and spent a bunch of time in the mountains, and then got working harder on my horsemanship skills, and then that led me to starting to do clinics and start colts for people and whatnot, and then into competitions. And so I kind of do all of those, start colts and go in competitions and do clinics and camps at the ranch and take people on learning holiday adventures and all around Costa Rica and Brazil and Vienna and a bunch of different places we take people. So yeah, kind of.
That all sounds actually lovely. I think I'll sign up. You know, I saw a photograph on Facebook. I think I grabbed it off there today. And I hear often from people that they listen and watch and they are not necessarily horse people yet, or they're thinking about being horse people, or they live in this area or in a horse area, and they're really interested in learning more. And horsemanship, the word horsemanship, to some people, that might not be an understandable term. And I don't know if Isaac has it, but if he does, there's there is, look at that. Yeah. So if you're watching, you actually can see this. But talk to us a little bit about what horsemanship actually means to you.
Well, that is a deep well. As I go along and as the years go by and the more horses that I play with and the more people that I work with and stuff, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. You can go down so many different avenues. I did a Zoom last night because I have a private group and people twice a month can come on these Zooms, and so I made a big list. Should have brought it, I guess. Of all the things that horsemanship is and all the things that horsemanship does for you, what I would consider to be true horsemanship. It makes you aware of typical human behaviors, and typical human behaviors often get in the way of good horsemanship. So there's all that whole aspect of looking at that. It gets you to be aware of, are you kind of a passive individual, are you an aggressive individual, are you an assertive individual, and where you fall on that scale. It gets you to look at your mental and emotional fitness. When you're working with horses, there's mental, emotional, and physical fitness. But when you're working with yourself, or you're the one that's leading the charge with the horses and you're trying to develop a horse, your mental, emotional, and physical fitness plays a huge part in what's going to happen with the horse. I could talk about that forever, but then there's your perspective. When you're working with horses, your perspective, I would say, plays 50% at least of what you're going to get done with horses. The beliefs that you have and the perspectives that you have absolutely determine so much. You could have the best skills and the best equipment and the best horse and all the time in the world, but depending on what your perspective is absolutely going to determine much of what's going to go on with that horse. I say all the time, and I've thought, at first I used to say 50% people are accessing, they're accessing less than 50% of a horse's potential. But I thought about it a little bit longer and I go, well, actually, I think for the most part, we're accessing less than 5% of a horse's potential. Wow. For a whole lot of reasons, some of which I've mentioned. But horsemanship it's a crazy deep thing. We have so many limiting beliefs about ourselves. We have limited beliefs about horses. All that stuff plays into what happens, and there's a lot to learn. Your feeling timing that you are born with, the fact that you're a predator and horses are prey animals, all that stuff plays into it. There's all kinds of what I mentioned in the beginning, typical human behaviors. There's all kinds of typical human behaviors that that come with what we do physically and how we think, that plays into what's going to happen or not going to happen with the horse. And then the level of awareness that we have has to go way up if you want your horsemanship to get better and you want your horses to be better. It's just to me, it's fascinating because I've been doing this for a long time. Started thousands of horses, and I've taught thousands of people, and I get to go all over the world and ride English and jumping, and even just here in Florida, the amount of differences that I'm doing in the month that I'm down here, and the amount of horses that I'll handle, and the people that I'll talk to, is really varied. And I find it just absolutely fascinating, the things that people say and the things that we need to know, the things that we need to learn, the things that we can develop and work on. So, yeah, I get more excited. The longer I do it, the more
the more you love it.
The more I love it. The
more you love it. It's definitely, I can tell it's clearly your passion. And if you're watching, not listening, listening and watching, I should say, you actually can go on Facebook or to Equus TV Network on your smart TV or on a free app or on Facebook to the Horse Talk Show, and you can actually see Glenn working with horses and people. I love this one.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, I just love to see that, the way they trust and know and stay with you. And
that's and we're doing a little bit of Liberty down in, I guess that was Kentucky, and the one before that was in Canada. That was this spring. It was a colt starting that gray horse that was riding around. So that was 3 hours to get him broke to ride, and then we did a course at the end of it. And these two of my Lusitanos, and both of them did Liberty, but that was all in Kentucky playing with them. That was just on a warm-up day. I was just fiddling around. My daughter was laying in the grass there, and she started she took the video. I didn't even know she's watching. I was just playing with the horses because the show was coming up.
And how old is she?
My daughter, the one that took this video, she is 26, and my other one, I got two daughters. The other one's 28.
Oh, and they love horses too?
They do, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, they're both into it.
Family endeavor, that's fantastic.
So going back to horsemanship, tell us what you think differently now than you did when you first got started.
Oh, man.
That might be a long list.
Big list
I was going to say that's a big list because, gosh, list. We change, don't we?
The more you learn, the more you realize that some thought perspective that you used to hold on to, that you used to think, is actually not true at all. So, so every time I find a new thing, a new reason, I have to change another perspective because it's not doing me much good, this perspective I'm hanging on to. So, but the horses keep telling you and telling you and telling you, and finally if you're worried about it, if you're concerned about it, you finally hear them. But man, sometimes they got to tell you a lot of times before you figure it out. And as long as you're trying to bring horses up the ladder and trying to make things better and get better, and you're trying to do more higher and higher things, they keep saying, well, we're not going there until you get this figured out. They're ready to go, but not till you get it figured out. So then I have to figure it out first in order to be able to get them to do some of the things they're more than happy to do. Most things they did, anything that them two white horses were doing looks, it's all fun and fancy, but it's not hard. It's not hard. Any horse can do it. It's super easy if I am smart enough. But years ago, I was not smart enough to do that. I wouldn't have a clue how to nor had I ever seen anybody do it. So I would never know that it's possible, which would give me limiting beliefs because I wouldn't know that it's possible because I'd never seen it.
So Liberty, for our listeners on the radio who aren't watching, is the horse actually doesn't have a halter or a bridle or anything restraining it. So the horse is trusting the person. And I just want to say that because sometimes we forget about our listeners, so they know what we're looking at right here. So I think I love watching Liberty. I think it's beautiful. And it's just like what it sounds like, freedom. So we have to take a break with Glenn, but we're coming right back with another segment because we want to tell you all about this rather exciting book. So stay with us for the second half of the show. Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The Equine Performance Innovative Center, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centers for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that can talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our TV broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we're here with Glenn Stewart, and I feel like I'm missing a hat. I feel like I should have one on. Glenn, that last segment went by so fast. I had lots of questions for you, but great answers on, you know, just how much we change over the years and how much more we learn, and perspective, which is huge, of course. And just even having the knowledge to know what can be done with horses and then doing it is absolutely phenomenal. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit, because a lot of your experiences shared in this book have helped you, obviously, to grow a tough time, but also one that you say you wouldn't change if you could, because it was such an experience. And aside from horses, even outside of horses, I can tell you there's some horrible things I've gone through in my life. And when I say horrible, I mean this is not horrible compared to what I'm talking about, but just some bad things that happen to people. And when they do, even though sometimes you don't like the experience at the time and it's hard on you, but you take away something from that, learn, and actually grow and get better. And it sounds like even in the toughest times in here, you actually really feel like this was so beneficial to you. So tell us a little bit about No Regrets.
Yeah, so I tell a story every once in a while, because this was a big part of my life for many years. Actually, it still is. I still go to the mountains, so the story takes place in the mountains, 80 miles from the nearest road. So you drive 3 hours north of Fort St. John, which is into the middle of nowhere. You're kind of driving for a long time in the middle of nowhere. Then you park, and as a crow flies, it would be 80 miles. But to ride in there, it's a 4-day ride to get in. You got to cross, I think there's 7 or 8 river crossings to get into this area. So you're in the middle of nowhere. There's no power.
And when you say river crossings, it's not a little stream. It's a pretty wide river.
Some of them are big. Some are bigger than others. Yeah, you got to be careful where you cross, because I know there's been times when I went in there and there was people on the other side of the river, and they had crossed earlier in the day and lost 3 people.
Oh.
And they're going down the other side looking for bodies. I didn't know what was going on. I was going up this side with my people and my horses, and I seen people riding down the river on the other side. I didn't know what was going on, but what had happened is they got in a wreck in the river, and 3 people and horses and everything gone.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you got to be careful.
A serious river. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this took place. It takes place up. My great uncle used to. It's a hunting area, and so he started it. So way back when there was no hunting areas, then a bunch of good old boys went back into the mountains, and they started hunting in the mountains, and they were all just hunting back and forth. Then they said, let's make areas. So they drew out boundaries at height of land and used rivers and stuff for boundaries. And then they had their hunting areas. So lots of Americans and Europeans and stuff come there to hunt. So I started wrangling there when I was 17. And so it's basically stories of what went on when I was 17.
So this could be book 1.
Yeah. Book 1 here. This is book 1. No regrets.
Yeah. So it's just a group of stories of things that went on that will be. It's kind of usual for a lot of folks up our way, but very unusual for a lot of other people. And I had no intention of writing a book ever, but I would tell a story, like one of the stories I would tell to somebody in here, and they go, you got to write a book, you got to write a book. So anyways, I thought, well, I'll just put it in a computer. So I put it in a computer. And
I'm just holding this open because these were my favorite photos, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure you all can see them. If you're watching, you can see these wonderful, wonderful scenery. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
The scenery is second to none up there. There's just absolutely phenomenal. And you can go up, like on the cover there, you can ride up that thing as far as you can see on that mountain. We ride up there all the time, but the horses, there's 250 head of horses that live up there, and they're just loose in the mountains, and you got to go find them, and there'll be 20 here and 5 over there and 30 over there, and you just got to go find them wherever they are and then bring them in, and they don't want to come in. You got to go round them up. First you got to go out there and catch a horse. So you just start walking through the mountains, and you try to find a herd of horses, and you try to find one that you can get caught that's been loose for a year. Hasn't seen a human in a year, because they paw up there year round. Through the winter, nobody's feeding them. They're just loose. There's no fences. And so you get one of those caught, and then you bring him back and get him saddled up, and then that's your first horse that you get to use to go out and try to find some other ones. And you start bringing horses in, and then as you bring horses in, you get some better ones, faster ones to ride, and grab the next horse, and away you go. But anyways, that's...
Wow. Little Western.
A little Western. So how long were you here?
I've been there, I was 17, and I've missed the last 3 years, I think, or 4 years. I haven't, but I've been going there every year since. I worked there for 15, and it would be 100 days of the year you'd go into the mountains, and there was no power, no cell phones, no telephones, no TVs, we had running water because it run right by the cabin.
That was the running water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can say when I started reading this, the thing I liked about it was bigger print, because I didn't need my glasses when I was reading it.
Yeah.
And the chapters, it was a story, but the chapters weren't like 40 pages. It was a couple pages, and then you were on to the next story, and that's what I really liked about it. And it was written simply, so I can send this to a lady I know that has a son that's 10 years old that's into horses, and he'd be able to read it with no problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a book that you have to own horses or ever own horses.
Right.
It's because it's not about horse training. It's nothing to do with that. It says right in the beginning, there's nothing to do with horse training. It's just a book of stories and things that went on, and some of the life lessons that I learned by some of the characters that I worked with, and yeah. So.
Is there a number one life lesson in there?
Well, when I mentioned perspective on the last thing, like, I hope that when people read the book, because like my one daughter, she read the book, she goes, Dad, I don't like that. I changed the names of people in there because I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. So it's people that did something that they might not be 100% proud of or whatever. I didn't want. I'm not trying to, because I I don't have any regrets. In fact,
Yes.
I would hate it if any of them would have did anything different than they did. I'm so happy that they did everything that they did. But my daughter says, I don't like that. I forget what the name of the guy. Carter. Yeah, I don't like that, Carter. And there'll be a lot of people that probably don't like that, Carter. But Carter was doing the best he could. That's all he knew. That's all. He didn't know how to do it any different. He didn't mean nothing by it. He's just the way it is. And so you could take that experience and those different things that went on there, and you could be like, all devastated and crushed or something and upset about it and whatever. And I didn't enjoy it at the moment, but it's not that big a thing, And so the book is those 100 days when I was 17 actually shaped who I am incredibly, and the way I think and the way I go about doing the next thing or the next adventure.
Shaped your perspective.
Oh man, it shaped my perspective. It shaped so much of how I think and my beliefs and
That's some of the greatest. I think some of the greatest trials that we have to persevere through give us the most perspective in our own lives. I think it can be a blessing in disguise. It's a good thing. That sound means we have to wrap this segment up with Glenn. I hope he'll stay with us for the rest of the show. If you haven't got this yet, you need to get it. No regrets. Can this be purchased on Amazon?
Yeah, buy 20 each, and
buy 20
Christmas
each.
is coming.
Christmas presents. Great Christmas presents. That's right.
I got to at least break even.
More information, thehorseranch.com, Canada. And we'll be back after this. Stay with us. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed.
Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, Piranha.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Does your farm need a facelift? Has the harsh Florida climate left your barns, stable doors, and fences stained? J&S Pressure Washing has a professional team who can exceed your expectations and restore your farm to its former glory. Get rid of dust and cobwebs that can cause allergies and health issues for horses, and keep your horses safe by limiting fire hazards in the barn. J&S Pressure Washing can clean your house, your barns, your fences, and your driveway, and you can count on dependable and professional services. For more information, call Steven at 352-502-5355.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Hay. They are our TV broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
We have Glenn Stewart here with us, and we've been visiting with him and talking about his book. We're going to switch it up a little bit now to Pyranha, and they had an absolutely phenomenal golf tournament fundraiser. Again, this was the third annual, can you believe it? This is actually the Larson Hay team, including George there from Gentle Carousel, some other great players. They had an absolute blast. Of course, we were riding around with the wonkiest, weirdest donkey trophy because, you know, that's what we take everywhere with us. You know, he went to the Breeders' Cup, he went to church at Triple Cross. He's been everywhere. He was at the golf tournament, and we traveled around with him all over the place, but it was fantastic. And this was fundraising for Gentle Carousel Miniature Therapy Horses, Canines for Warriors, and the Heart of Florida Youth Ranch, all doing amazing things with four-leggeds to help people. And, you know, amazing organizations, and they were able to give a $10,000 check to each one of those three at the end of the evening.
And I heard it's one of the best tournaments in Ocala.
Oh, it is by far. And actually it was sold out. I think all the teams were taken, all the spots were taken, and everybody just helped to make it a huge success. And Betsy and I were quite funny because we were watching, like, well, how do you know which stick to use? Well, how do you know which horse to ride?
Well, and the other thing is they give great trophies. Like they had carved horse heads as the trophies, and then they got a bag with a driver in it.
Yes, they really had a great time. But the tournament was fantastic. All the sponsors were wonderful. TT distributors jumped in and helped, and so did Seminole Feed Stores. Just great sponsors, a great group of folks. That's Tom DeCillo, the national sales manager from Pyranha. The prizes at the end of the evening for the winners of the tournament were fantastic, and the gala was wonderful. They had a band, and Pete was dancing, of course, because he's dancing Pete Roda.
That's right.
You know?
It was a blast.
So he has to dance. And it was just really a great time.
The food was great too.
The food was fantastic. So hats off to everybody involved in making that happen for the third year, and just taking care of some wonderful 501c3s that do so much in our community. So we're very grateful to Pyranha.
So get ready for next year.
That's
Get your teams together.
Get ahead.
Sponsorships. Ben would love to hear from you.
Absolutely worth it. Yes, Ben Heatherly would love to hear from you for next year, and we'll start prepping for that. We're going to switch it up now to Dr. Rullan from the Equine Performance Innovative Center, talking about their very interesting podcast that covers so much to do with horses. Here he is. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television, chatting to Dr. Alberto Rullan, and we are at the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, the perfect place to rehab and condition your horse, whether it's for a rest in the summertime while you're away, or hopefully you don't have a problem, but if you do, this is a great place to address it. Dr. Rullan, I want to talk about a subject it's related to the horses, of course, but not directly to a service here, but to a new podcast that you've recently started called A Stride Above.
Yeah.
I love the name. Share with us a little bit about why you're doing that and what people can learn and find out about you from there.
Oh, that was lovely. First, the name came from Amanda.
Amanda, she's brilliant. She's not just a pretty face.
Yeah, no, she's just amazing. So what we decided to do is we have found out, first we saw a need for information. We saw that the equine community loves information, and a high percentage of the problems that we see are because of lack of information on the horse trainer, owner, or professional. So that was the first thing that we identified. Then the second thing that we identified is that horse people love to learn. It's like
this is true.
Horse people are a sponge for information, and I feel that sometimes I can talk to a client the whole day, just to one client, just teaching, and they just listen and learn, and I love that. So we say, okay, how are we going to
Can I interrupt you just to say something?
Yeah.
I think my number one complaint that I hear from people about veterinarians, and I don't think it's a veterinarian's fault, I think it's because they're so busy and there's so many horses, they're trying to get to the next appointment and to help the next horse, especially if it's an emergency situation. A lot of times we can't get that information, and I think the mistake we make then is we go to Dr. Google, and sometimes it's not necessarily an accurate source. So I can't think of anything better than hearing it right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, 100% agree. And we're going to solve that problem. We have already a webpage with a wealth of information. We have multiple web pages with a wealth of information.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we came up with the idea of a podcast, which is on a weekly basis, sometimes every 10 days, depending how busy we are.
Mm-hmm.
We go in and we choose a topic, whether it's a rehabilitation topic, a lameness topic, or a business topic, because we believe that the equine industry has great potential for business.
It does.
And you hear so many people, not too long ago, actually 2 days ago, a girl came in and said, I wanted to be a vet, but my vet told me that I shouldn't. It's not worth it. I said, what?
What?
That's ridiculous. Come here with us. So to help all of those concerned, we decided to make a podcast. And we bring experts in the topic, expert on regenerative medicine, on new products. There's a lot of new products out there that people might not know exist. We're bringing those people first. We are interviewing our own staff. Hey, what is it to be on the equine industry? What do you like about it? What do you hate about it?
You've given me an idea.
Right? So I want the whole equine community to see what are the possibilities in the industry itself. And as a matter of fact, we are taking it to a next level up. We are working on some national partnerships where we're going to bring all this information, all these services to a whole new level. New things are coming up. You know, I always have something.
I know
new,
you
right?
do. You've always got something up your sleeve.
Yes. So hopefully within the next year or so, you'll see where we're going with this, because it's getting great acceptance by clients, trainers, owners, horses, students. So it's pretty good, pretty exciting.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're going to talk about all sorts of different topics.
Yes, we're going to talk about all sorts of different topics.
Different experts.
In the equine industry. Mostly, actually, with the only vision of helping the horse, right? Because sometimes we forget, maybe I used to, maybe it was just me, that the industry is so big, and to help a horse, there's such a big team. You need your trainer, you need the owner, you need the feed, you need the hay, you need the grooms, you need the administration aspect of it, you need the farrier, there's so much going on to make this professional athlete perform, or even if it's your pet, or even if it's a horse going to a race that doesn't matter what race it is, whether it's a Kentucky Derby or a claiming race, whether it's a Grand Prix show or a backyard show, it takes a big effort to take that horse to the level of competition that the owner and the trainer wants it to be. So that's why we put all of those, anyone that influences that athlete is going to be part of our podcast.
That's wonderful. That's amazing. So A Stride Above, you can go online and find it, and you can watch the episodes. I've watched several already. It's absolutely phenomenal. Lots of information. You never need to be without what you need for lack of knowledge when you have Dr. Alberto Rullan and his team here at the Equine Performance and Innovative Center. Thank you, Dr. Rullan.
Thank you very much.
A Stride Above. Don't forget it. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. Join us at the Florida Horse Park on Friday, November 22nd at 10 a.m. for the Equine Industry Expo presented by Advanced Staffing for demonstrations by top equine industry professionals, horsemanship demos by top trainers like Linda Pirelli and Dancing Pete Roda, a breed exhibit, a vendor village, food trucks, a kids zone, and more. Free admission for all, and Marion County Public School absentee credit is available. For the best in equine edutainment, don't miss this event at the Florida Horse Park. That's November 22nd from 10 to 3 p.m. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing, and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, also online at ttdistributors.com.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
Epic Equine Veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options. Become a better, brighter, and younger you.
The Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And I'm Glenn Stewart, and you're listening to The Horse Talk Show.
Look at that! Can we give him a round of applause? Well done. We have actually been interviewing Glenn a couple of segments today, and we talked a little bit about this book. So if you're looking for a Christmas present,
no regrets.
This is a great idea, and Glenn made a very good point. You don't have to be a horse person necessarily to read this and enjoy this. These are amazing adventures.
The U.S., you can get it at qualityhorseman.net.
Yes, so check it out. Love that. It's a great book. I've started on it. I admittedly a little bit overwhelmed at the moment with events and things, but I have made my start, and it's fantastic. So you get yours, get your copy as soon as you can. We are going to switch it up to Dancing Pete Rhoda's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Wildlife Works. Here it is.
Dancing Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complementary Horsemanship.
This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal.
If you have critters that you don't want, Wildlife Works can take care of that for you very efficiently and safely and properly. So make sure you reach out to them. And yeah, Dancing Pete's cheating this week, by the way.
Yes. So I have decided not to use my tip of the week, but I'm going to use a better tip, and I'm going to have Glenn do his tip that's actually in his book.
Glenn, the pressure's on.
Take it away.
Okay, which one? The last one?
The last one.
The last tip. All right. We've been talking about it a little bit. It says, perspective is a powerful thing. It creates your reality, which creates your truth, which could be very untrue. Perspective is a choice, so choose wisely, as it shapes the way you think, how you feel, and the experiences you have in your everyday life.
Wow, that's powerful for horsemanship and for life. And what's going on right now with everything.
Yes, in our world.
Yes.
Perspective, yes. That's actually really good, and that's especially good for me this week, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because when Pete arrived today, I was in a tizzy, had my knickers in a twist, as we say in merry old England, and just got a lot going on. A little bit. November's a little overwhelming. There's a lot in November, and I think that perspective is everything, because I'm an overcomer and it's all going to be okay. And if I don't have that perspective, it won't be. So it is all about perspective.
And can I use those perspective or your other tips?
The rest of them, you go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
So we'll quote you, Glenn, every time. But perspective, not just with your horse, but everything in your life, right? So it really matters how you look at things. So I'm going to say this next 10 days or so is going to be phenomenal. Going to be the best ever, and everything's going to go smoothly.
That's a great perspective.
It is a great perspective, and it is important. And even your perspective and your attitude both affect your animals. And that's the same with a lot of animals. If you have dogs you're close to that you keep at home, it all affects them. It definitely does. So you've got to be positive.
You have to change. It's not as easy as just saying positive thoughts. It's pretty easy, but it's not just like, rather than saying something negative, say something positive. It's actually changing the way you think about it. if you change the way you think about it, then your perspective will change. Then you're not just saying some.
So it's your outlook
just-
as well as your, it can't
Yeah,
just
you're
be
not-
saying it if you're
You
not
should
there,
add that
right?
to your next book, to add that to.
Well, I do a whole day's talk on perspective. I got a whole thing this long on perspective, all these questions and stuff. But
'Cause it's a pretty
you
deep
need to
topic.
change your perspective on. You need to not just say different words. You actually have to look at it differently. Then you will feel different.
Here's
You
your
look at
next
different.
book title, Perspective. Wow, there it is.
I know, that's a big topic, it really is, and there's a lot to it, and you're right, it affects everything around you, and it certainly affects your horse for sure. So very, very good. Excellent tip of the week.
Thank you. I brought in a ringer.
You did. Now, if you own a horse, you probably own a dog. And Ocala Dog Ranch is a huge supporter of ours. And by the way, at the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games and Expo, we do have a kids zone brought to you by Ocala Dog Ranch. I'm very grateful. They will be looking after my dogs next weekend when I'm very busy, probably not going home very much. But we're going to switch it up to Neil Hennessy from Ocala Dog Ranch. The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. Grooming. Not all dogs need to be bathed on a regular basis, but some do, depending on the breed. Many dogs shouldn't be over-groomed because you don't want to take the oil out of their fur by constantly bathing them. But if they get muddier, then obviously they're going to have to be bathed. Short-haired dogs, I mean, you can get away with a bathing 4 times a year, maybe every 3 months. Long-haired dogs definitely need to be groomed. You need to make sure we don't get them matted. And also when you're grooming them, there's a good time to run your hands over your body and feel for lumps and bumps and look for fleas. Neil Hennessy, the Ocala Dog Ranch.
It must have been windy that day. He's wearing the mic muff.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I know you don't. Neil talking about bathing and dogs and very important care, and he does absolutely wonderful tips every week for us. So look out for Ocala Dog Ranch for training, boarding, daycare, dogs jumping in pools. We call it dock diving, lure coursing, barn chases after rats who are not hurt, by the way, in that process. We are now going to give our gifts that we forgot earlier to Glenn because we have some goodies for him for coming in and joining us.
Piranha goodies.
Thank you very
Piranha
much.
goodies, great for traveling, by the way, because they're nice small sizes for traveling.
Travel
And then
size.
this that now has to go everywhere with you.
Oh, yes.
And then you have to tag the Horse Talk Show as you travel with your nice dandy brush.
Okay, as I'm going to the airports, I will snap a picture.
Take a selfie with the Horse Talk Show
Selfie.
and then you can send it to us and we'll make sure we know where you are all the time with your brush.
I'll pretend I'm brushing. I'll take one on the plane, pretend I'm brushing somebody's hair.
In front of you.
There you go. We just want to thank you so much. First of all, thank you for gifting me with the book. I'm very excited about finishing the rest of this. And it makes me want to run off to the mountains with my Mustang because that would be a great place to take you trail riding. And the scenery alone in these photographs is just incredible. And what a beautiful place.
Yeah, if you go to Glen Stewart Horsemanship and you get cruising around in there, you can find a whole bunch of videos from up in that country, so you can get a better view of it.
Better views, really, really
And on
beautiful.
YouTube too. You can go to Glen Stewart Horsemanship on YouTube, and there's a bunch of videos of it. So
Lovely, beautiful, wonderful to see. And like I said, everybody needs to get a copy of this. So, quick mention for TT Distributors, one of our wonderful partners. I know January probably seems like it's a really long way away, but it isn't. We're almost at the end of November, and then you know what happens, Christmas and New Year's, and time is just absolutely flying by this year. So they are going to be appreciating their customers. TT Distributors has horse and farrier supplies, as I'm sure you know. And this will be on January the 18th and 2025 from 8 to 1 p.m. They're going to have door prizes for the first 50 customers in the door, 10% off store-wide with raffles and food vendors, and there'll be a lot of product reps on site as well in the store. So if you have any questions about products that you either regularly buy or interested in buying, you can get answers to all of that. So that is TT Distributors Horse and Farrier Supplies Customer Appreciation Day. Get it on your calendar. You know we'll be there running around.
Running around buying stuff.
Running around buying stuff and videoing. January 18th. So make sure you get in there and do that. And don't forget, I know I remind you a lot, but I was actually told last week by a gentleman that sings at my church that he's heard us talking a lot about the hobby horse games on the show. And I said, yeah, we have. We mention it a lot, but we don't want you to miss this free event. This is a signature event for the Chamber's Equine Initiative. This is 2 days, November 22nd and 23rd, at the Florida Horse Park, and it's actually going to be located this year a little differently than last year. Instead of being in the open arenas outside, it's actually going to be under the covered arena, which is centrally located in the middle of the park. It's in a great spot, and it's going to be a great time. Hobby horse equestrian games, parade, and the Equine Industry Expo. 2 days, free admission for all, so come and see us. Whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world,
or not,
happy horsing around. Until the same time next week.
See ya.